Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are finally fiberglassing our boat, but before we do that we need to first clean it out of any of dust that might be on the boat. So I'm just using this blower guys, and you could also use your vacuum cleaner if you want. For this step we just need to be thorough and clean. Inspect all the epoxy parts to see if there is still some need of sanding, but if it's already smoothened, then we can go ahead. Next we measure the amount of fiber mat to use. I am just gonna lay down all of the available fiber mat guys. I am using 200 GSM here. The link is in the description below if you are looking for materials, same as mine here. This is 200 GSM by the way, and this is also what is recommended in the boat plans. So I am just dividing this fiber mat guys to more manageable parts, because I am the only one who will be doing the fiberglass. If I have extra hands, then I would probably do the fiberglass in one go. Unfortunately that's not the case, so have to divide the work to more manageable parts. Here I'm just cutting everything into size. So you could just use a scissor guys. I prefer the scissor over the cutter. It's much easier. Now we are inspecting all of the corners guys, if they are smooth enough. And then we need to measure once again, because I don't want to make another mistake here. Make sure that the fiber mat is really enough. You need to also have a little bit of a gap between the fiber mat. I would say around 4 inches is what the boat plan is telling us. So we need a 4-inch overlap at least. So once again guys, this will be my final sanding for all of the leftover epoxy resin. I just noticed that there are some parts that need to be sanded first before we could apply the fiber mat here. Of course after this guys, I use the blower to clean it up. So once everything is in place, we can go and apply the fiberglass. Seems somebody wants to help here. So with the fiberglass schedule guys, I'm also doing the transom support as well as the bottom base for the center console. Now this video is fast forwarded guys, so I am not mixing the epoxy that fast. It's just that this video is 3 times fast forwarded. So that way guys, in actual time I'm really mixing the epoxy very slow. So here I am just applying some epoxy resin to our transom support. Of course you need some clips here, so be sure you have enough clips. That way they will evenly spread together and they will be very tight. So we just put everything on the side after we apply some more of this epoxy resin. What I mean is this is laminating epoxy guys, is what I mean. It is what I am using here. The brush I use is a 1-inch brush. You could also use a roller, but for economic reasons it is cheaper to use the brush. Although you need to watch out for the hairs every now and then, so you need to inspect it. Same thing with the first one guys, just keep them together with the clips. You need a lot of clips for this project. Finally, the base for the center console. Be sure to apply both sides guys, not just one side. Be sure to apply both sides. And then finally just put some clips to tighten them up together. So now we are going to glass our butt joints first. This is where we join two of the half of our decks here. So first you need to apply epoxy on the surface of the wood, just like here. I find that this one will have a more solid finish than just applying the epoxy resin with the fiberglass. Or what I mean is applying the epoxy resin on top of the fiberglass mat guys. The result is much more. I find that the result of doing it like this is more satisfactory. So again, we just need to coat more epoxy on top of it. Make sure everything is coated and that there are no dry spots. Especially on the edges guys, you need to check if the edges have enough of the fiber, if the edges have enough epoxy. So just be generous guys, you don't need to chip out on this one because it's really important. So the next day parts are finally done, so it's time to take all the clips back. As you can see, the transom support and the center console base is already done. Now we need to start the fiberglass on the corner. So this time I will fiberglass the corner of the deck here, doing some final inspection before laying it out. And I am mixing a lot of epoxy here, guys. I am pre-mixing them. What I mean is I've already measured them for 3 batches here. So you need to prepare in advance, but don't mix them part A and the part B until you need them. So just mix them one by one, but you need to measure them before you go with your epoxy application. Once again, brush the epoxy surface first. I am now mixing the second batch of epoxy, laminating epoxy here. And then we are placing the fiber mat back carefully. It is a little bit sticky now. Takes some practice to get this one done, guys, but it can be done. And this is probably the tricky part when you're trying to put the fiberglass mat. You need to spread them together, spread them evenly, I mean. So always use gloves, of course, and your protective gear. After which you can just apply the epoxy resin on top. So I'm not gonna skip everything here, guys, because I want you to see how I apply the epoxy resin. Basically, I start on the sides, and then I will work my way down to the corner, and then last to the bottom part of the fiber mat. There's also a corner there by the transom. So just take your time, and you don't have to be scared, guys, to use your hands if you need to place your fiber mat, because sometimes you need to stretch them because they will have some lumps to evenly spread them. As you can see here, there's some lumps here, and very rarely you need to cut some of them, although this one here I was able to spread them evenly. So no cutting is done with a cutter, but sometimes you need to really use the cutter. So just work carefully, guys. You don't want to stretch it all. If you stretch it like all the way to the edge, then the corner will lift up, of course. So you have to slowly work your way. And of course you also need to put some epoxy on top. Again, you are watching for bubbles or any dry spots that might need more epoxy while you are applying some epoxy on top of the fiber mat. Then you're slowly stretching it out. So that, as you can see, guys, that is on the corner. I worked the corner first, and then slowly I would apply more on the edges. I'm out of epoxy mix again, so I think this is the last batch for me. So I think I did a correct estimate on the amount of product to use here. So you can imagine, guys, if you would epoxy like the whole deck, and you're just one person, it's gonna be a lot of mixing and you will probably go crazy because the work is not manageable anymore. So just work your way one at a time. If it's too big, you need to divide the work, just like what I did here. The important thing is that you will apply it correctly so that you don't have any remorse later on if you mess it up. There's also a low chance for you to mess it up if you can manage the work. But if you have extra hands, why not? You could of course the work will be faster if you have some guy who also know how to apply the epoxy. But if they don't know how to apply the epoxy and they decide to help you, then I think the things will slow down instead of getting faster, guys. So that's the reality of it, especially if they're not experienced with working with epoxy. So I think this is almost done, guys, but there is still an important step for us to do here before we call it a day, and that is hunting for the dry spots, popping out the bubbles, just like here, what I'm doing here, guys. Spreading the thick parts into the dry spots, and of course you need to pop some of the bubbles. I just use the brush here, just hunting them like that, trying to retouch them. So make sure you have some extra epoxy ready in case there's really a huge dry spot that you need to repair. Here I'm just popping some of the bubbles, as you can see. There's really no shortcut to it, guys. Sometimes bubbles will really come into the working area, no matter how careful you are. So here I am applying some epoxy to our transom. I mean what do you call this one, guys? It's it's where the water will exit on our transom. So I should have moved the camera here, but I'm racing against time here. I don't want the epoxy to dry out, so I apologize if it's a little bit at the distance that we're viewing this one. But basically this is how I do the thing with the so once we are done, guys, we are just gonna inspect everything, make sure everything is okay, see if there isn't any bubbles, any hairs from the brush also. Once it's done, guys, so that's it. We need to just do the other side and then call it a day. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.